So good morning and welcome to Wellspring. Those of you on Zoom, welcome as well. Today is Father's Day, June 15th, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And my name is Edward Burlbaugh, and I'm part of your Sunday service team. So we have a few announcements. As you know, Early Birds meets on Sunday mornings at 9:30 via Zoom. And the link is in the weekly email and also on the website. So join us there. The upcoming speakers for June. Today we have Doug and Tina Bailey. Really appreciate them being here. And on the 22nd we have Reverend Kamatara. And the 29th we have Donna Stryker. So we're looking forward to the rest of this month as well. Our Thursday evening group continues to meet here and on Zoom at 7 o'clock in the social hall. And you can get the log-on coordinates, Zoom coordinates from me or Cleona. And we'll show you how to get on. We've been reviewing some work from Gaia on video and then having a discussion. That meeting usually lasts about an hour, and it's a nice discussion to have. Oh, they'll be here. Yeah. Next Saturday, June 21st, Reverend Kamatara is having a garden party housewarming. There are little announcements over in the social hall on the table, so take a look at that. It's from 4:30 to 8:30 p.m. and she lives on 639 South San Pedro Street. And she said to bring something to help her in creating a sacred garden and bring something to sit on. Drinks and treats are provided. So let's join us all in welcoming Reverend Kamatara to Las Cruces. She's now a resident of Las Cruces. Hey. July 5th, that's a Saturday, Wellspring is having a barbecue. And we're going to meet here at 5 o'clock. Please bring a side dish. Wellspring will be providing hamburgers, hot dogs, and the buns and so forth there. But if you've got some idea for a side dish, chips or whatever you think might go with it, please bring that. Dr. Juan Robles has written a book. It's recently been published. It's called My Alchemical Journey into Holistic Health. We have a number of these over in our bookstore. Pick one up and support his work if you choose. He says it's an invitation to explore the deeper connections between health, spirituality, and the natural world. And I think right now he's in Puerto Rico visiting family, which he discovered.
I saw him this morning walking his dog.
Oh, so he is in Las Cruces back. He got back, yeah. He found out he had some relatives, some older brothers that he didn't realize were still alive, so he figured he'd better go visit them while there's still a chance. So now it's time for our invocation. We acknowledge and affirm the presence of Spirit in this very room. We know that this is a holy place. As we come here, we amplify the presence of Spirit as we acknowledge it. We also know and accept that this same Spirit moves through each and every one of us, guiding us to our own highest fulfillment. We give thanks for our acknowledgement of that, for our recognition of it, and for all that is provided by way of this service today. And so it is. So now please join me by standing and singing with us the Song of Joy. And I think 99% of us know this one by heart, but the words will be up here, and it's in every one of us.
Here's a little introduction. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, by and by. It's in every one of us to be free. Find your heart, open your eyes and see. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us, here and now. Every one of us to be great. Be kind, and concentrate. We can all be everything the Spirit in control. It's in every one of us, in our soul.
You may be seated. And now let's read together our vision, mission, and affirmation. Thank you, Judy. Our vision: to elevate spiritual consciousness in our world. Our mission: to support individuals' spiritual quests through celebration, study, counsel, loving fellowship, and service. Our affirmation: I shine brightly as a vessel of light and love, knowing I am one with the infinite. Every action I take is guided by divine wisdom and intention. I joyfully celebrate the boundless potential of this moment and all that is yet to come. So now it's time for our special music, and someone who needs no introduction, but we're always happy to have Melody here. Please join us.
I love that part of the affirmation that we are the light. This is a song that's one of those that was a familiar tune, and Bob rewrote the words. It is. I just need to get closer. I'm trying not to stand on Edward's cord. There we go. Much better. Can you hear me now? Okay. Truth and peace and harmony, that's the way it ought to be. Healing and prosperity are for you and me. Meditation is the key to your spirituality. Ask God for help and then you will see. I see the light, God, I see the light. The truth sets me free and moves me through the darkest night. My spirit fills with
pure delight when you gave me your strength and sight. I look at you, and I see the light. Abundance and prosperity now belong to you and me. The universe has said that is our way to be free. God is our reality. He will work to make us see. Our spirits now are one, and that's unity. I see the light, Lord, I see the light. The truth sets me free and moves me through the darkest night. My spirit fills with pure delight when you gave me your strength and sight. I look at you, and I see the light. I look at you, and I see the light. I look at you, and I see the light.
Wow, thank you, Melody. We can all use a little more of that in this day and age. So today's reading is from Ernest Holmes' Creative Ideas. And this is, it's broken up into a bunch of sections, but this is this part of the book is kind of on faith. But it's called I Surrender All Doubt. We should always keep in mind that we are beneficiaries of life. We do not put the chicken in the egg or the oak tree in the acorn. Rather, we take them out. We did not create the divine presence or the law of good. We commune with this presence and use this law. Therefore, Jesus said that it is God's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. It is our business to receive it. And in doing this, we follow the same method that any scientist would, for scientists know that they did not create the laws that they use or the principles that they employ. And then there's a little meditative prayer. It is God's good pleasure to give me the kingdom. Today I accept this kingdom, and I accept it in its fullness. I lay all weariness aside and accept the life-giving, invigorating, dynamic activity of the Spirit, knowing that it vitalizes every organ of my body. It flows with power and strength and purpose through everything I do, as it leads me gently down the pathway of life. Every sense of doubt of any kind is wiped away in the knowledge that today is the day that God has made, and I am made glad in it. Running through me is the silent power of spiritual wisdom and love, harmoniously governing my thoughts and actions. So now it is a pleasure and an honor to invite a couple of folks who've been an integral part of the New Thought community for many years. I feel I can say that without offending anybody because they are practitioners emeritus, which means they have served as practitioners for over 25 years here in Las Cruces. And as those who remember our beloved Geneva, they are contemporaries with Geneva. And we're so pleased that they are still here and that they are here today. So welcome, Doug and Tina Bailey.
Want to come down?
Yeah.
Well, good morning. Good morning. I'm delighted to see those of you that I've seen here before. What a wonderful group you have here. Our topic this morning is fertilizing your future. And I know that most of us in this room have been doing that for a lot of years, but we have more years to do it, so let's go. And I know it sounds like gardening, don't you think? But what we are to speak about is spiritual gardening. How we prepare and continue to prepare the soil of our consciousness. What seeds we continue to plant. How we nourish those seeds on a daily basis. And how we trust the process of growth as we co-create with the universe. And you guys have done that wonderfully well here in Wellspring to provide this community space for you wonderful souls. And we once heard a speaker talk about a spiritual sandbox as the place where we come together in love and acceptance and play to visualize what we can create. And you are in one of those places. This is your spiritual sandbox. It made me recall that when we started our journey years ago, lots of years ago, they were called, when we started taking classes, what we learned were called tools, spiritual tools. And some of you may remember that. And so we called it then our spiritual toolbox. So now we can take our spiritual tools, play in our spiritual sandbox, and play in our spiritual sandbox. So this morning we want to share some of the tools we've gathered over our years together and that have made an impact on our lives. We heard them on Sundays, in classes, in our readings, and in different workshops. Ernest Holmes, as you know, one of the founders of this philosophy, said, "Life is a mirror and will reflect back to the thinker what he thinks into it." Every garden begins with soil, and it's the quality of the soil that determines how well everything will grow. Spiritually, our soil is our consciousness, our mindset, our beliefs, our emotional state, our experiences. In Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill wrote, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." That statement is both empowering and sobering sometimes when we pay attention to what we're thinking, because it reminds us that we are the gardeners of our own destiny. If our thoughts are dominated by lack or fear or resentment or doubt, guess what grows? Weeds, nothing that blossoms. Wayne Dyer said it like this: change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. I think that's kind of important for me to remember in this current environment. And we've all heard what Ernest Holmes said. We've heard it many times. Change your thinking, change your life. You'll hear this several more times this morning. So it's for us to take responsibility for our mindset, and as we begin to consciously prepare the soil. This does not mean that we don't acknowledge our past or our pain or our mistakes. It means we continually till the soil. We break it up, we air it out, we forgive ourselves, and we make it receptive to something new. Those of you who have heard us speak before know how important classwork and prayer and the words of the authors we mentioned today have been in our lives. Moving towards the next phase of our lives, and indeed working on this talk, have allowed us to look back at our life as a couple and to see how the seeds we've planted over the years have grown and blossomed and impacted our lives, both the positive seeds and the negative ones. And as well reflecting on our growth through all of that, through the weeds and the positiveness that we created. I had had no spiritual community since leaving home, except during Christmas and Easter when I would take my son to the Lutheran church to hear the beautiful seasonal music. That was the only time we stepped inside a church for years after we came to Las Cruces. And I was not looking for a relationship. When Doug and I met, that was the farthest thing from my mind. And we had two vastly different temperaments. I was somewhat closed and cautious and certainly sure that I knew the right way to do everything. And I wasn't looking for a relationship, or certainly not a spiritual community. Doug was the opposite. He was open and receptive and inclusive and loving and very patient. And he still is. And these are traits that I came to realize came from his embracing the science of mind tenets. So that was my opening into even learning about this a little bit. So early on, we attended a relationship workshop sponsored by a local church. It provided us exercises that closely mirrored some of the tenets I later learned of religious science. And it helped me uncover certain aspects of my personality, shall we say. And I might add that religious science was not exactly aligned with my Lutheran background. Participating fully in the couple exercises of that workshop greased the wheels, so to speak, for a positive and lasting relationship. And it did introduce me to religious science. And change your thinking, change your life. What a concept. Indeed, we all know that change the way you look at things, and the way things look change. What a gift that is in the present time. Doug and I fully participated in the religious science classwork offered by CSL, and each class truly made us hungry for the next one. And participating in those classes with Geneva was a hoot. The classwork provided us tools for growth and a safe environment in which to grow and learn about ourselves, our intentions, and to shape our future as a couple, and to practice the principles we were learning in a safe environment. We took advantage of the opportunities to grow through service in the community. And you guys are doing a marvelous job the way you serve this community. We will be the first to admit that this philosophy, the ministers and the members and the work we did as a couple set the stage for these last 40 loving years, and yes, sometimes challenging years of marriage. So our talk today will recall some of the seeds we planted and fertilized for ourselves as well as for others. We know that once, just like in gardening, we know that once the soil is ready, you begin to plant seeds. So we did. These seeds are our intentions, our dreams, our goals, and our vision. I needed to learn to look to the future while remaining in the present, set my intentions, see my future results, but stay grounded in the present moment. That was difficult for me to do because I was always looking to the future, what it was going to look like, and oh my gosh, was it going to be okay? Ernest Holmes reminds us, there is a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it. Think about that. Not only is there a power, but we have access to it when we remember. But we must tell it what we want, do the work, and act as if. The universe responds to clear intention. So to plant a seed, we must know what we desire. Deepak Chopra says, intentions compressed into words enfold magical power. Yes. That's why affirmations, prayers, and declarations matter. They're not just words. They're seeds of consciousness, and they have emotion oftentimes tied to them. And every time we speak them, especially with the feeling, we press them deeper into the soul of our subconscious mind. They're tools in our toolbox, which we can use in our spiritual sandbox here. Students in the wonderful religious science classes taught us their importance. One example is the Roots class that I like to share. We loved teaching Roots for a number of years. At the beginning of the class, participants would plant a seed for their intention for the class, what they want to work on, and see it show up by the end of the class. Members join in prayer for each desire expressed and offer support, love, and encouragement. The end of the class provides an opportunity to share their demonstrations. The most profound was shared by our wonderful Sam and Nancy Ritchie, and we have permission to share it. Sam had been a minister for an Episcopal church before moving to Las Cruces. His sermons reflected his understanding of religious science, and they had been receiving the monthly Science of Mind magazine for some time. Moving here, he and Nancy attended CSL, and later, Sam was the interim minister while we looked for a new minister, and Nancy led the music program. Nancy planted a seed in the Roots class for a return to having more music in her life. And she embraced the idea of that wholeheartedly. Each week, she and her partner prayed together for their manifestations and continued prayer work with each other between classes. On the last day of the class, students were encouraged to share their demonstrations. Nancy had attracted several students who wanted private music lessons into her life, and she was beginning that. From this grew more individual students, becoming choir director at CSL, and then Wellspring. She led the CSL choir for Christmas services. She led a community choir, which was invited to perform at several overseas concerts. She was an amazing demonstration. And the result was, like I said, the formation of the choir here at Wellspring and concerts at CSL and an increasing expansion of her private lessons. She clearly had taken the prayer and done her work, and it was a powerful demonstration. Now, before I introduce Doug, I want to give a somewhat less spiritual lesson that came out of one of those classes. One of the members was complaining that he and his wife always argued about which way to put the toilet paper on the roll. You know, should it come forward or should it come at the back? And so the class helped him with that discussion. And the solution was, whoever puts the paper on the roll gets to choose the direction. So there was that motivation too, to not just leave it empty for the next person. So now it's my pleasure to introduce my partner for 40-some years, Doug Bailey. Most of you in here know him. He's the shining light in many of our lives. Hey, darling.
Well, you can recognize what a lucky guy I am now. We are always fighting scripts. We are always planting something through our thoughts, feelings, words, and beliefs. The question is, what are we fertilizing? Faith or fear, limitations or possibilities? It's fun to look at the many lessons that come through the experiences that we have, some good and some not so good, but powerful growth opportunities for us. I came into this philosophy after hearing Ram Dass at the Orange County Convention Center, filled with 5,000 people inside and about 2,000 outside who were unable to get in. With some difficulty, I was able to find the event was organized by the Huntington Beach Religious Science Church. In a church in 1979 with about 250 enlightened souls ministered by Reverend Peggy Bassett. Through an excellent program of workshops, classwork, leading to a very active practitioner program and outside speakers, Huntington Beach experienced extraordinary growth. Over 6 years, we watched it grow to over 4,000, fueled by their feelings, beliefs, and hard work. Let us be reminded of Ernest Holmes' outstanding quote, "Change your thinking, change your life." Does that sound familiar? This planted the seed for me and began my journey with Ernest Holmes. I took a workshop on abundance at Huntington Beach in early 1980. I will never forget Reverend Peggy's opening comment. Huntington Beach does not need your money. It needs you to be successful in life. She went on to say that you will be when you truly recognize how powerful you are when you are aligned with the divine. At one point in the program, she suggested we look at our relationship with money, not our checkbook. At the time, I lived on a tight financial edge. I was moved to start using cash instead of checks, and it was definitely painful. I finally decided to use $100 bills for Sunday collection, which at the time was definitely painful and outside my comfort zone. But rather than a pain, I enjoyed the thought of the impression those $100 bills would have on others as they passed by in the plate. Later, Reverend Bassett challenged us to see in our future how our 10% tithe would grow to the point where it equaled our current total income. Tina and I have been tithing for over 40 years. We were slowpokes. It took us 10 years to meet that challenge the first time. Wayne Dyer reminds us that the art of tithing opens the floodgates of abundance when we are giving with an open heart. We create a space for more blessings to flow into our lives. Charles Stanley reminds us adversity is not simply a tool. It is God's most effective tool for advancing our spiritual lives, providing opportunity for personal growth. A fun business story underscores this. We had a young man who mistakenly felt we had damaged his government career. He made some inaccurate reports which resulted in a major contract of ours being terminated. We appealed the termination, naturally. Recognizing the power of negative thoughts I had towards him, I absolutely knowing it would ultimately hurt our company, our employees, and our customer. Not only did I do affirmative prayer, but I attached his picture to my bulletin board to remind me on a daily basis that he was an expression of the divine. The result was that at the trial he was an early witness and a very positive witness, and several hours after that the judge ruled in our favor. Deepak Chopra teaches us that in the process of letting go, you will lose many things from the past, but you will find yourself. In other words, growth requires surrender. You don't control the timing, but we trust the process. Growth takes time. It takes nurturing. And that's what spiritual practice comes in. Faith is fertilizer, so are enthusiasm, gratitude, imagination, and love. These qualities energize your visions. When Tina and I started considering retirement, we had a company we were very comfortable with. We also had employees and customers to consider. So we went to a workshop and discovered we needed to be 5 times larger if we wanted to exit the way we desired. As Napoleon Hill tells us, do not wait. The time will never be just right. Just start where you stand. So we hired a couple of highly experienced people, looked at our market with imagination, recognized some opportunities, and took action. After several years, we find ourselves in the first months of this year having shipped what it had taken us a year to ship in the past. We also found that in the early months of this year, we booked in dollars what it took a year to book in the past. Ernest Holmes reminds us we have within us a power that is greater than anything we shall ever contact in the outside. A power that can overcome every obstacle in our life and let us safe, satisfied, and at peace. Holmes also said, treatment is the time, space, and effort you spend in changing your consciousness so that your life can change. Eventually the harvest comes, but it doesn't come from wishing, it comes from alignment. When your inner garden reflects what you truly want to grow, you are living in alignment. In taking action, you can look forward to harvesting the future you want. As Holmes wrote, the law of life is the law of belief. What we believe about ourselves and about life comes true for us. As we leave today, I invite you to ask yourselves, what thoughts am I planting? What emotions am I watering? What beliefs am I fertilizing? And absolutely recognize if you truly want to develop your spiritual practice, you are in the right place to collect the tools for your spiritual sandbox. Prayer work, meditation, and being surrounded by people who recognize you as a conduit through which the divine expresses. I encourage you to leave here today and fertilize your future with the kind of spiritual nutrients that align you with your highest good. Let's dare to believe, to act, and to grow. Please join me in prayer. In this moment, we recognize the magnificence of the divine, which expresses through all that surrounds us. Let us know that truly we are a conduit through which the divine expresses. Know also that we plant the seeds of our experiences of life with our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions, which drives our actions and creates our experiences. I give thanks for this day, for the opportunity each of us have to truly make a difference in our community and the lives around us. And so it is. Thank you.
Well, let's give another round of applause for Doug and Tina. And now we have some more music from Melody.
Thank you for your words. It's wonderful to see both of you and hear both of you, and your years and years and years of wisdom condensed into such a wonderful, concise presentation. Thank you. Thank you. Planting the seeds. Wow. When I'm coming to sing here, I always choose the first one I'm going to sing, and then I always have several for the second one because I want to hear what the speaker's going to say. And interestingly, this is, of the four that I chose today, this is the one that was uppermost in my mind. One of the times Reverend Sam was going to speak here, he said that he wanted to speak about creating heaven. So, planting the seeds, and Bob took that thought and again went to an old spiritual and rewrote the words to fit with us. So here we have it, Create Heaven by Bob Burns and Sam and all of us. Let's create heaven in this land. Create heaven in this land. Create heaven in this land where we're bound, which is today. Create heaven in that land. Create heaven in this land. Create heaven in this land where we're bound. There'll be no fighting in this land. There'll be no hunger in this land. There'll be freedom in this land where we're bound. There'll be love in this land. There'll be love in this land. There'll be love in this land where we're bound. So come and go with me to this land. Come and go with me to this land. Come and go with me to this land where we're bound. Come and go with me to this land. Come and go with me to this land. Come and go with me to this land where we're bound. They'll be singing in this land. There'll be joy in this land. There'll be light in this land where we're bound. There'll be peace in that land. There'll be peace in this land. There'll be peace in this land where I'm bound. So create heaven in this land. Create heaven in this land. Create heaven in this land where we're bound. Come and go with me to this land. Come and go with me to this land. Come and go with me to this land where we're bound. Thank you.
So it's now time for our offering, but I want to bring up a couple things here as we're going that way. So I'm going to have this over in the social hall. There's a couple letters from folks that we've already tithed to this quarter. Just a second. Sorry about that. We typically give a little bit of our tithe to something that involves animals. So we have a letter from Action Programs for Animals, a little card there. And El Caldito Soup Kitchen. And we also this quarter tithe to Mesilla Valley Search and Rescue, which if you've ever been hiking the Oregons, you might have had need for them. So if we have somebody that would bring forth the basket from the back, that would be wonderful. So we got our cameraman doing double duty today. So we acknowledge these gifts that are offerings from the heart and may only represent a part of the contributions that each of us make to Wellspring. We give thanks for these funds that do support the activities of Wellspring, and we also know that we share this abundance that we have with the community. We know that we reach much further than what we see here in this room as we spread our abundance throughout the world. And so it is. Thank you, Edwin. So we have a number of folks who have contributed to today's production. Obviously, our musicians and our speakers. And we've got the unseen back there, the camera persons and our techie, as we call the rotating job back there, making sure this goes across on Zoom for everyone to enjoy. And as you know, we do record these and put them up on our website. So it's very important for folks to have that ability to remotely join us and also join us in another time. So we thank you for joining us here in the sanctuary and on Zoom today. And lastly, if you choose, stay around in the Zoom meeting after the service and visit with those who are on there. The rest of us, please join us in the social hall. I understand we have some cherry pie today, courtesy of Cleona from, just hand-delivered from the Cherry Festival. So if you're not here in person, just imagine how good it's tasting. Yeah. So now please stand as you're able and read with me the benediction, and followed by our congregational song. In the midst of us is mighty. Joy, peace, and eternal life are our true nature, and flow through us into the world, and so it is.